I have some truly horrific news. I know that a lot of you are emotionally invested in my ability to maintain my marathon training schedule, to continue to run when all else fails, to run and then run some more. And then when you are no longer or still not satisfied with my amount of running, I would then run again some more. Because after all, in November, I will be running a marathon come hell or high water. But unfortunately, on this particular trip, I have not run one time. I did not run in Copenhagen. That was out of my own pure laziness, although I did walk a lot. It's not the same, even though it is in the Olympics. I would just like to point out the fact that competitive walking is an Olympic sport. Now, I then came to Gibraltar with the plan to run, and I forgot the fact that the entire country seems to be on the side of a cliff. And running would be tantamount to torture, which is against the Geneva Convention, so I have decided not to violate international law by running in Gibraltar. I hope that's something that you can understand. I also believe that, if I was running actual distances here, I would be able to run around the entire country. Now, of course, I'd not be capable of that because the hills here are ridiculous. And that's coming from somebody with my calves, with these absolute hogs, these tree trunks down here. The hills, they're kicking my ass. They're unbelievable. But I obviously didn't just come here only to talk to you about my poor running habits while we've been filming this episode of Hidden Grounds. No, I am here to talk to you about fundamental truths on the internet, right? Because one of those fundamental truths is that no matter where you are or what year it is, you are going to see probably once a day the Hog DNA, like that highlight, right? Just an unbelievable highlight. Everybody's favorite footballing memory. Do not scratch your eyes. This playoff semi-final goal just from the heavens for Watford. Troy Deeney becoming a legend forever. I don't even remember who the Hog guy's first name is, right? But every sports compilation of all time that you ever happen to watch is going to be hogging and Deeneying all over the place. What you might not remember is the guy that was also involved in that play. A player named Anthony Knockaert. Knockaert. I've never quite known exactly how to pronounce it. He's a French winger, but he was the guy that won the penalty and took the penalty that was, of course, saved and saved again by Almudia. Like Almudia saves again. Sorry, I know the actual call. Don't let's not act like I don't know the actual call here, right? But that guy, Anthony Knockaert, is posted about this whole situation, which you might think is weird, and it is, considering this actually happened in 2013, and he is posting about it in 2024. You see, Anthony Knockaert, this guy right here, he's had a very good career. He has. He just objectively had a wonderful career. He got promoted 2 separate occasions with teams from the Championship to the Premier League with Leicester and then again with Fulham. He has, you look at Transfermarkt, 72 Premier League appearances, 233 Championship appearances, played a good bit in League Two, played some in Belgium, right? This is somebody that has played for a long time at a very high level of the professional game. Somebody that, was a lower level Premier League player and a higher level Championship player, kind of a classic quadruple A type winger. And somebody that, I'd known who he was for a long time. And it was weird because I'd watched the Hog Deeney play a bunch of times before I realized the guy taking the penalty was just a young Anthony Knockaert. Now, Anthony Knockaert made news recently because he officially retired. At the age of 32, he had moved back to France and he was playing in League Two with Valenciennes. The club got relegated despite his best efforts down to the 3rd division of France, and he basically just decided that was a good time to pack it in, and he's just going to move down and play like amateur men's league ball because he has officially transferred on Transfermarkt, but there was also this official announcement of retirement on July 11th, so he really is basically done. He posted it on his Instagram today. I write to you with a mixture of emotion and gratitude to announce my retirement from professional football, right? And Brighton and Hove Albion's actual Twitter account posting about Anthony Knockaert, who played for Brighton for a good spell. He actually said that those were the best years of his career, and he was honored by the club in this Twitter post. So somebody, over a decade playing at some of the highest levels of the game, multiple full seasons of Premier League action under his belt, and he decides to call it quits. Maybe a little early at 32, but you're playing for a team that just got relegated. You don't want to have to figure out your next move. You've got enough money to know you shouldn't be able to spend all the money that you've made, I'm assuming, over a career that spanned the Championship of the Premier League in that way. And yeah, just chilling. just hanging out. Said, oh, I'm good. I'm good. Except he wasn't chill. Except he wasn't just hanging out. And the other unalienable truth about the internet, right, is that if you bring up something that you want people to stop talking about, they're going to talk about it more. And I think you can probably figure out where this is where this is headed at this point, because Anthony Knockaert, who's been retired for a grand total of less than 30 days, decided to just randomly, I don't know if he woke up in a mood or something, throw this up on his Instagram story. Here's a look at his Instagram story. Okay, just to make it clear, you guys keep writing, here's Hog, whatever, listen, you're clowns. Without me, you would have never experienced a playoff final in Wembley that you lost. Kevin Phillips, you remember? You all that stupid that you're even writing this like you made it? How to describe Watford, now we're pivoting. How to describe Watford Football Club? Unstable club that has 6 different managers per season. So please enjoy your life and leave me alone for once. Well, I'm going to tell you one thing, Antonio. They're not going to leave you alone. In fact, all you've done is kick a hornet's nest in this situation. Now, I realize this is a frustrating catch-22 because Anthony Knockaert has waited 11 years or 10 and a half years to post about it. He waited until he was retired to post something like this, right? At least to my knowledge, he never posted anything like this before, acknowledging the fact that apparently a few Watford fans happened to needle him basically on every Instagram post, being like, Hog, Dini, like, oh, remember that one time you missed a penalty? And I'm going to be honest, there's no real shame in missing that one penalty. Messi missed a penalty in the Copa America final. Ronaldo missed a penalty at the Euros. Like, it happens. It happens to the best players of the game, right? There's no way to guarantee you're always going to score a penalty. And Anthony Knockaert just happened to miss a penalty at a really unfortunate time. He's also the guy that won the penalty, and he ended up getting promoted with Leicester. I think it was the next season anyways. So it's not like he just hit his head in shame and then had a terrible career. He went on for the next decade to have, in fact, a very good, successful career with multiple stints in the Premier League after that particular highlight. So it clearly didn't let him, he rose above it. He handled it incredibly well, considering how absolutely crushing it is. It just happens to be one of those most significant sporting moments in anywhere ever, because it's just such a dramatic moment. People don't even remember Kevin Phillips. People don't remember that Watford did not get promoted that season. They just went to the playoff final and ended up losing. I like how he acknowledges that, like, without me, like, he was the person that did kind of make that happen. So that shows that, he's processed this entire event. He understands that he's the one that made it all possible in the first place, but it was definitely something that had been eating at his mind. I like this mental image that, he just like, well, one day I'm going to retire and I'm going to be able to post about this. And maybe he even retired early so that he's able to actually post about this whole situation. But of course, right, I already knew how this was going to go. We go to his most recent picture, which is him, and I'm assuming just his son. Look at the comments on this. Okay, now it doesn't show up on the computer version of this, but these are GIFs. These are videos of the Hog Dini play. Watford are massive everywhere we go. Here's Hog. Someone still has dreams about a pen they missed. Here's son, Dini, play on words because it's a picture of his son. More videos. Do not scratch your eyes. Hog, Dini, more videos of the play. Now look at the time that all of these were posted. 10 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, 9 hours, 3 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours. All of those posted after he posts this Instagram story. I don't know, maybe this was some sort of 4D chess thing for Anthony Knockaert to get into the public eye after he retires. Right? But what I'm thinking this is just a complete misunderstanding of that other big rule of the internet. Outside of the fact that you're going to see the Hog Dini play like once a day, if you post about something and say, hey, stop talking about this, what do you think is going to happen? Right? How many Watford fans followed Anthony Knockaert's Instagram before this post started getting thrown everywhere? Right? How many more are there now? It's going to take years for this to die down to even the level it was at before Anthony Knockaert posted this. So if his actual goal was to clown Watford fans and have them actually get on with their lives and stop replying to Instagram posts, I got bad news for you. 51% of the general population has nothing better to do than to troll you on Instagram if they feel like they can actually get to you. And this post shows that Anthony Knockaert was at least noticing that one Watford fan that I'm sure was sitting there posting, here's how, Dini on every single post for Anthony Knockaert. Well, now that dude's got company. He's got company in the 50s, the hundreds, right? There's going to be Watford fans all over the place on Anthony Knockaert's posts, right? And what amazes me also is that he's come out and he's done this. He actually, really, really good article in The Guardian about how he overcame really crippling depression. This was back in 2018, so this was after the penalty. It had nothing to do with the penalty. He had a really tough spell in life. His dad died. He ended up getting a divorce. He couldn't see his son as much, and it was just, and they moved back to France, and he was kind of spiraling a little bit. I gave it a read. It's really interesting. Good window into the guy himself. But buried even below that was his hatred of Watford fans and waiting for this moment where he was going to be able to slap back at Watford fans. But he could have gone quietly into that good night. But now Anthony Knockaert, if he ever gets near a Watford fan, is going to have to deal with this. In real life, on the internet, anything Anthony Knockaert ever does, he's kept it alive, maybe even for another decade with this situation. But also, I can't overblow this. Anthony Knockaert is always going to be defined, in some part, by being the guy that took that penalty. But to be perfectly honest, the guy that took the penalty is not the most relevant person in the play. Okay, and this is going to keep him more relevant. I kind of feel bad for Anthony Knockaert that he's now going to have to deal with this, because it's just never going to stop, is it? It just keeps going. It's still going. Every single one of these, if it's not a thing, it's a GIF. Oh, brother. Tough. Tough.